Please just say something. What's a legal advice, by the way? Thank you. Legal advice is a legal opinion. And can somebody who is not a lawyer or an expert give a legal opinion? Can I get an answer from you? It has to be an expert. It has to be a lawyer. So why police send the request for legal advice to us here? They know we are lawyers. Is it not so? By a lawyer, that is why it is given to you to proffer an advice. Otherwise, police may not even send it here. So it's a legal opinion, and it must come from a legal practitioner or a lawyer. Otherwise, it's no longer an expert opinion. So when you are proffering a legal advice, know that it is an expert opinion that is expected of you. You will, when you get the case file, be it duplicate or original, you will see the police report, the extracts, the statements of witnesses, and what again? Can somebody say something? What do we see in those files?
List of exhibits.
Yes.
The forwarding letter.
Yes.
Medical report.
Even.
Pictures, if any. Pictures, if any.
Yes.
Statements of
Yes. What?
statements of criminal complaints.
Yes.
Witnesses.
Of witnesses. Yes. And whatever they may feel like including, whatever exhibit, whatever documents they will include. Now, I've come to understand that some people depend on what the police write there as the police report. And people just copy and paste. Is the police, are those policemen lawyers? Are they lawyers?
No.
So if you just copy whatever they wrote there and then put it there as your, please, you are not helping us. These people, some of them are not educated, some just finish secondary school, some have never furthered. Then that is the way they feel. If you read their report, you see terrible English, you see. So you are expected as an expert in the law, in English, to panel beat that statement or that report or whatever you are going to use there. You are to panel beat it. You look at semantics, you look at syntax. If you don't do this, then it means you are like them. Garbage in, garbage out. But you are an expert. So, as it is said, like the wife of Caesar, you are expected to live above God, like the wife of Caesar. Because you are an expert. You fail to live above God, then do like what people that are unlearned do. Then that's no difference between you and them. So, when we have the legal advice to draft, we first look at the parties, either NSCDC versus whosoever, or COP versus whosoever. The name of the suspects, because at that level, it is suspects. Sure? Yes. They are still suspects. At the point of drafting the legal advice to conclusion, they are still suspect. Statements of facts. Brief statements of facts. Now, I don't want us to waste so much time, so we just brought this and then go to other things. Otherwise, now, brief statements of facts. This is supposed to be you summarizing the entire case. It's you, not what the police wrote. Please. You will only look at that police report to just have in fact, the first thing is just look at that when you collect the case, and then have an idea. This is a case of homicide. This is how it happened. But please, if you are in the habit of depending on what the police write there to write your legal advice, sorry, please, henceforth, don't do that. Has anybody ever encountered anything with such police reports? Has anybody? Or each time you get such police reports, what you read in it always tells you the correct position of the case? Mind you, these people like this, they are not experts. You are the expert. So they just write anything anyhow. That is just to help you as a guy to have a general idea when you just peruse it. For me, is the statements of witnesses. Go to the statements of witnesses. That is where you get the gist of the case. The police information, the police report is just to be like a guide. Please don't depend much on it or you will be misled. If they didn't appreciate the law or the issues at stake, and you depend on that, your premise in the first place is faulty. If your premise is faulty because the police didn't appreciate the facts and have given that as a premise, then eventually you will learn as a wrong conclusion as well. So you are the expert. Don't depend on them, but look at the facts as presented. Look at the facts in witness statements. So now the brief summary, and that brief summary is you writing that brief summary in your own English, the way you understand that case. Please don't give what the police wrote. Please don't. Don't write the police English or whatever they wrote there. No, it's you. Anybody reading that legal advice is looking at the office. We are writing legal advice on behalf of the Attorney General. And so anybody that reads that will be looking at the Attorney General. Mind you, legal advice, the moment it is dispatched from his office, when it goes out, you won't know where it will end. Yes. So, that brief facts is the way you understand that case. You are to summarize that case. You summarize that case. Don't go to take what so person said, what so person said there. No. That summary or brief facts is what the entire issue is about. Is it kidnapping? Is it homicide? Is it fatal motor accident? Whatever it is, just a brief summary. Summarize it in whatever. Nobody is saying it should be lengthy or anything. Just as it is said, brief. Do it briefly. let it capture. Then when you go to statements of witnesses or whatever, that is where you now look at the statements of those witnesses. But at this point, please, nobody wants all that. Mind you, like we said earlier, everyone has, although it's style, but have a cause to look at several and come across several legal advice in this office. Sometimes it is said in Hausa that Gangaya Chenza or Amaze Chenza. So if we bring legal advice here, do a legal advice, except if the case is a very, very complicated case. Shouldn't take more than 4 pages, please. But when my Lord now, Justice London, Justice Fong Yong came as DPP, hey, story. You would want you to put in everything. So how they call that, he asked me, why was I this brief? It wasn't a legal advice. Why was I this brief? I said, sir, but what is lacking in what I've written? So no, shouldn't be this too brief. Why I was brief was because I also had an encounter with another retired PS, James Hart. We had discussed a matter with him, and he told me that look, you don't need, you just concisely, whatever document you're writing or whatever issue. And that was confirmed in NALS. When I got to NALS, that is confirmed. You don't need to write. See, people have issues. Nobody wants to sit down all day long and be reading your please don't do that. We have so many issues. We want a scenario where you understand the subject matter and you concisely put it down. That is just it. In whatever place you go, nobody wants to waste his scarce time in reading. They say, no, please. So you be concise. So summarize like that. Now, when you look at the statements of witnesses, that's where you now bring in all that. But then, the main issues, the issues that are germane for the purpose of that case. If you are looking at the issue of homicide, or how somebody was killed, and then some irrelevant stories that the witness wrote, don't bother yourself about that. Look at for the element of an offense. If you know the elements of that crime, look at the statements. Where are related or will bring up the elements in those statements. Those are the issues. This is what this man said. This is after introducing the person. So person. He lives at so place. If his profession is important, otherwise you don't. So the main issues, the gist of the matter is what you now say. This is what this person said. This is some people will give you a long story of their family, a long story of what they do, and things like that. Please go to the gist and pick out the gist from their statements. He said this is what this is. He said this. He said that. And again, it is you how you bring in your syntax, semantics, how you arrange that is you. Not police, not him. Some of them, their statements will be written by the police. Some of them write themselves. Some of them are not learned in English. And so they write all manners of things. You are the expert. You bring out all those facts or evidence and put them in a manner that anybody who reads will know that yes, this is coming from the Ministry of Justice or from an expert. But when somebody writes pidgin English, And then you reproduce the pidgin English there. What are you saying? Except if you are quoting what the person said. If you are quoting, it's a different thing. But if you are not quoting, please do it properly. Please. Sometimes you will fail to appreciate what is being said because